Hello and welcome to your Living A Course in Miracles call. Today is Friday, June 8th. My name is Jared Krebs. I'm in San Antonio and I'm super excited to talk about these three Ken Wapnick videos today with you. If you're watching us on the YouTube channel that we have, you can find us on Facebook at Living A Course in Miracles Audio Book Club. Right now we're reviewing Ken Wapnick videos, so we're not quite listening to an audio book, but we're all about studying A Course in Miracles, all about growing, and all about awakening from this dream as fast as possible, doing all our forgiveness lessons, and having a great time doing it and creating a great community. So we're going to start like we always do by having everybody who's on the call just tell us where you're calling in from and why you're excited about today's call. Your name, where you're calling in from, and why you're excited about today's call. Who wants to go first?
Looks like it's going to be me.
All right.
How you doing?
Thank you. Welcome.
Yeah, I couldn't do it last week. I was just too tired.
Well, it's great to see you here at 2 a.m. in France. I admire you.
I'm very well, but I'm very tired. But I'm excited too. I watched the video last week, and I thoroughly enjoyed it as always. And I always like listening to Ken. He does his short little bursts there, and they're just little nuggets, aren't they? Really. But I'm really excited about that.
Awesome.
Anyway, over to somebody else. There we go.
Well, good to see you, Lang. Glad you're here. Excited to.
I don't know what's happened, Jared. You've gone. Say something, Christian.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Hello.
All right. So, my name's Christian Stambry from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I'm excited about today's call because keep on keeping on studying some Ken Wapnick. Always good content.
Hey guys, Pablo here from Houston. Just felt like joining the group today, so look forward to the conversation.
Yeah, excited to have you here too, Pablo. Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for taking over, Christian.
It took me a while to clue in, though.
Pablo, welcome.
Thanks, man. How's it going?
Good, man. Good to see you. Thanks for sending me that cool text. I want to read it today to people.
All right.
Thanks, bro. All right, who's next?
Viola Krebs and Krebs from Sally.
Is she breaking up or is it me again?
Yeah, no, she's seems to be having some.
Christian can't hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear her.
Okay. Saying my internet connection is unstable.
We're just experiencing some technical difficulties today, folks. Please bear with us. So we got Jared Krebs from. Are you still in San Antonio, Jared?
I am, and I'm at my place, but I'm having internet connectivity issues. I have a new Wi-Fi set up. It should be working great. I think I'm going to join from my phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for
did
sure.
Did you guys hear my mom okay?
No, she was cutting out.
Mm-hmm.
I think due to the data Wi-Fi sometimes is really bad.
Okay. All right, so let's go to the next person.
Mm-hmm.
Who do we got left? Linda, Christian, Nathan. I think Nathan said he's not feeling well. So Nathan, I hope you feel better. Glad you're here. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then we have Linda Pettigrew. You want to introduce yourself for the call, Linda, why you're excited about today? Got to do the unmute.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? This is Linda, calling from Lancaster, California. It is now 5 o'clock here, and it's nice. It's 82 degrees, so I'm glad to be here. I know I can learn a lot from all you people, and hopefully you can learn from me. I love A Course in Miracles. It's been the best. Oh, shall we be reading another book, Jared?
We're actually reviewing 3 videos from Ken Wapnick that we had posted in our group. So that's instead of reading, we're studying Ken Wapnick videos for the next probably couple months.
All right.
Yes, and we will be studying 3 brand new Ken Wapnick videos starting tomorrow, and I need one of you to choose them. So we need someone to step up and choose 3 Ken Wapnick videos. And we'll keep you posted, Linda, so you can definitely watch them and go along with us.
All right. So if you just want to mute yourself, Linda, and we'll start going
I'm
on
sorry.
highlights. No, that's okay. And then, yeah, we'll start going on highlights from those 3 videos. So
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, hear you just fine, buddy.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm just gonna start with my highlights. Did we get everybody? Did everyone introduce themselves?
Yeah.
Besides Nathan? Okay, cool. All right, so guys, I just watched them, so they're totally fresh in my mind. I'm just gonna share the 3 highlights, actually, or the highlights from each video. I have the videos. I think it helps to have the titles of the videos, actually. So the first video, the purpose of the workbook, what I got from that was that, you know, he talks about how the people say, oh, you know, my life hasn't changed. I did the workbook for a year and my life, you know, I don't feel any better now or whatever. And it was just interesting to hear how Ken answered that and really to know that, hey, this is just like the foundation to learning about the thought system and becoming mindful instead of mindless. And he just talked about the devotion that it takes and the commitment that it takes. And, you know, you guys all inspire me on that because of how committed all y'all are to studying on your own time. And so that was my main takeaway from that video. The second one, the resurrection and the life, that was a video about Helen Schuckman's poem. And I didn't quite get all of it. It was pretty deep. But what my highlight was from there is that when Jesus awoke from the dream, he represents the sonship. And when one person can do it, that means that it basically happened for the whole sonship already. And so even the people that are pissing me off in my life, that are different segments of the mind that need to be healed, and I'm not a body, and, you know, all this just needs to be healed or has already been healed, like, it's already happened. And so it's just very encouraging to know that, you know, I can't screw it up kind of thing. And the other thing about video 1, it just came to mind was, remember how Ken Wapnick was like, you have to play your part in the symphony. Don't worry about being the conductor. The conductor is the Holy Spirit. You play your part in the symphony, which means do your forgiveness lessons and study your stuff and just do your best at your you know, the life you appear to have. So that really struck out to me, because that means I don't have to understand all the metaphysics of the Course perfectly or be able to explain them, although I will continue to study that and probably get better at it. I just got to make sure I forgive my father-in-law and my wife and everyone else who makes me mad or whatever. I love you, babe. But you know what I'm saying. All right, so the last one, use non-dualism as a defense. So using non-dualism as a defense, that was really cool because it talked about how people, especially Course in Miracles students, he calls them like the worst people, which is like so funny. And how we pretend how we're so spiritual and then we go and, you know, spout the metaphysics of the Course instead of being like normal and being compassionate. And we use that as a defense. And that's just the ego trying to preserve itself in another form. So it's really cool to watch these Ken Wapnick videos and to honestly just take the understanding a lot deeper. And I'm very grateful that we got to watch these 3. And thank you, Christian, for choosing them this week, bro. You did great. All right, who's next? What were your highlights from the 3 videos we watched?
Actually, I just picked 3 videos that added up to about half an hour, so that was it.
Perfect.
But, yeah, so I guess I'll just throw out a few highlights if that's okay with everyone else. All right, so video 1, the purpose of the workbook. The most annoying line to everyone when they do the workbook at the very end. On the last lesson, this course is a beginning and not an end. I think there's a similar line at the very end of the text. Because the course is all about, it's an individual path you do on your own, and you develop your relationship with the Holy Spirit. And the course is all about helping you get access to that higher self. So the purpose of the workbook is to help put your feet firmly on the path towards mindfulness by practicing forgiveness with your teacher, the Holy Spirit, or Jesus, or any symbol of love in your right mind that you like, that we are minds and not bodies. Okay, so that's basically from the first video. Process, it takes time. The ego becomes retaliative, when you start. So it's kind of like a back and forth path, at least it has been for me, for sure. I'll take a few steps forward, or even a big step forward, but then the ego is like, my turn, and starts to try and reinforce itself and stuff. So, but I'm learning, I'm getting less affected by my steps backward and stuff. I'm more patient with myself, and I'm kind of starting to realize more and more what's going on. Okay, so second video, the resurrection and the life. Poem from the Gifts of God, one of Helen's poems called Convergence. Ken said, it's not reality, it's just a dream, but in the dream it seems so real. Let us be taught by that wise man, or those wise men in reference to the poem, the 3 wise men. Let us be taught by that wise, that stillness and that peace, that higher self. Well, I don't really have to add anything to that. You can tell by the tone of my voice, that peaceful stillness, we have that in us. We have that. It's always there for us. The third video, using non-dualism as a defense. Forgetting to be normal, like nothing should change in your life before or after the course. Just the only thing that really changes is that you're forgiving. And it's not about groups. The purpose of groups, again, is forgiveness. You don't have to give up you're not being asked to give up anything. And don't use non-dualism as a defense. It's not meant to, this course is not meant to take over your entire life.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
It's like being normal, but it's like you have a different purpose. Our purpose is forgiveness and the Holy Spirit's purpose instead of the ego's purpose, but we're still working, paying the bills, taking our vitamins, eating right, whatever.
Yeah, and then your emotions or how you feel will show you sort of what you chose.
Oh, yeah. Didn't think about that. That's true, though.
Yeah. And then there was one more little thing. It pertains to something Mike Lemieux said earlier today on one of his posts, or I saw it in one of Mike Lemieux's posts, Dude, Where's My Jesus Fish, or on Gary's page, Gary Bernard's page. It was... I'll get back to you guys on that. But it's in my notes. But I scribbled. Yeah, I was trying to write like a doctor again, and now I can't read half my notes. So.
We'll circle back around and forgiveness in the field.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Christian.
You too, buddy.
Who's next?
I will go next.
Mama.
Okay.
Dada.
You just listen to him too. You could take a turn. Okay, so the purpose of the workbook. So it's like, I think Jared said, or someone said, that when the student gets done, they're like, how come I don't feel better? Like, I should be feeling better. But actually, what we feel is what our mind chooses. So that's just another choice on how we're going to feel. So all we really have to do is focus on daily lessons and daily practice, and forgiveness is the key to happiness, and just takes daily practice. And the process of learning. The world is not responsible for our pain or anything like that. It's whatever we choose. That's what I got out of the first one.
I like it.
Thank you. The second one is the poem. And what I liked was that the acceptance of the atonement, that we awaken from the dream of death, and Jesus, the way that it was interpreted was different on the awakening. How he intended it was that we all have awakened with him. And in that way, we have resurrected by the awakening.
Yes.
So,
isn't that encouraging?
yeah. So we're reborn to choose again. And this was a good poem. It really was, how she combined Christmas and Easter.
Mm-hmm.
All we see is the end of the body, but the whys are silent. The whys are within us. And the last one, being normal, different person. You know, I listened to this, but I didn't take notes, so I can't remember. Yeah.
On non-dualism.
On non-dualism, so I can't really remember. Do you want
Remember,
to?
he just says that Course in Miracles students are the worst.
I don't remember that.
I guess that's just like stuck in my mind.
That's one thing I didn't remember, but of course he says that all the time. I've heard it before. But I don't really remember what it's about, but I liked it. I know I liked it.
Well, let's see if some other people sharing can jog your memory about the third video. The things that I said about it was that they're the worst, and that it's important to be normal and not use the Course in Miracles metaphysics to reinforce the ego. You know, that's just like another ego activity that we have to watch. So, thanks, Mom. How about you, Dad?
Well, we listen sort of together, so we're taking notes together. So I don't really have anything else to add. We did listen to the third one driving back from the mountains, and we're not taking notes.
Okay. Awesome.
I think the Course people are pretty awesome, not
Being normal.
being normal.
Thanks, Dada. All right. Who's next?
Can I go next?
Lengi.
Okay, I think everybody's pretty much said everything. Disappointment with the workbook. Yeah, I can relate to that. Got to the end of it and thought, now what? But that was 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I've come a long way since then. Egos, this is what my interpretation of what it was saying really. Egos most vicious at the beginning. And that's probably the first hint, really, the disappointment that nothing's really changed. That's ego. But Ken says a lifelong process. So you are healed, but it takes time to give up judgment and the belief in the body. It is not our job to heal our minds. This is the job of the Holy Spirit. And that's done by practicing forgiveness, which is really giving to Holy Spirit to correct all the errors. So that's the workbook. And of course, we can all do the workbook again, which I'm doing very, very slowly at the moment. And it's only for the second time, you know. Resurrection. Helen's poetry. I thought it was really a lot said in very few words. You know, she did the Christmas, she did the Easter. Ken says that she felt that the poems were her work more than the work of Jesus, although it was still inspired. And the first word is, you think him dead who rose again for you. Resurrection is a waking up from the dream. In the mind, we all awake at the same actual time. I mentioned this before, I think, that when we sort of wake up, everybody's there waiting for us already, because we all wake up at the exact same time, which is why Jesus is a witness to that, because he woke up and we're all there. So he only came back into the dream to just tell us that. We've just taken 2,000 years to work it out, you know, and probably for some people it'd be another 2,000 years, I don't know. The non-dualism thing fried my brain a bit at this time of the day. I like the bit about the course did not come to a holy nun. It came to two people who were so busy and hated each other.
Yeah, and it came like in the heart of the ego in New York, where everything's competitive and hateful and whatever. Like,
yeah,
I love that.
Like an absolute maelstrom of what ego.
That was where the course was born. That was the manger.
Yeah, incredible.
I totally forgot about that.
Akim is not, oh, sorry, I called it Akim. A Course in Miracles is not religion. It is a course for the individual. We shouldn't really be doing this together. It's not about...
You're not supposed to make groups, man.
Yeah, we're not supposed to make groups. So I'll forgive everybody, okay, right now.
Please forgive me for making this group.
Yeah, no, I think it's a nice group. So live your life as before. You just change your mind. That's all. Nothing should change in the. All right, I've got the same problem as Christian. I've written it in Chinese. Nothing should change on the level of form. That's it. Be normal within the dream. Non-dualism explains the world be regarded as an attack because people generally believe in the illusory world. People don't like being told they don't exist, and they don't. It's a tough cookie to crack, that one. But getting back to what we'd studied before with the Buddha and Jesus thing, dualism is what that book is mostly about, I think. And dualism and non-dualism takes a bit of understanding. And I think in the end, you feel it more than understand it. I think I feel it, how it works and how to deal with it. And I think by the way I do that is by feeling that I'm no longer a body. And as such, as spirit, I am at one with the main, God spirit. So, and that's all there is at the end. That is the truth. Nothing else is. And that's got absolutely nothing to do with what Ken said. That's just me. So I think that's me done now. I managed to read most of my writing. I'm quite impressed with that.
Well done.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, like you said that, the course came in New York. They were so busy. Helen and Bill were so busy and stuff. And then I just wanted, like, a thought came to me that, like, in the introduction of the workbook, like he says, like, these lessons don't take a great deal of time. They need no preparation, so we don't have to keep delaying it or whatever. Just start if you feel like it. And I said the poem was called Convergence. I was mistaken. It's the resurrection and the life.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that from the title. Thank you, Christian. All right, who's next? What was your highlights from the 3 videos we watched this week?
I can go next. It's from everything's pretty much covered, but from the first video, I think the main thing is that the workbook really, in my mind, it has one objective of allowing us to understand the Holy Spirit's thought system as we read through it. and allows us to understand the metaphysics in greater depth, because it builds on the text, but it also has greater depth on certain topics. And you know, that understanding the metaphysics, what really allows us is to, you know, those metaphysics are the kind of the intellectual, I guess, the way that truth is communicated to us who believe are a body and have a brain. So that's kind of one objective, is that part, to allow us to understand better and get it in a greater depth, the metaphysics. And then the other part, like Ken said, is really, it's like the mind training aspect of it, which is to train us to hope to maintain that same hope, that thought system that we're studying in the course in our awareness all the time. So that's one part of the mind training aspect, is hold it in awareness all the time. And then the other part is to become mindful of all of our emotions and our thoughts, so that, you know, we start training our minds while holding that Holy Spirit thought system in our awareness. We can identify and all egoic thoughts that come up to the surface to get projected. And then that way because we're holding the Holy Spirit's thought system in awareness, we can decide to let them go, seeing the falsity that they are, and then accept the truth of who we are. So I think that's pretty much, it's kind of 1 year building a habit of doing that, so that then we can do it on our own and translate it into every single aspect of what we call life. From the second video, what I got from, well, what I guess the main thing I got from that was I think that the important message is, one is the resurrection is of the mind. It has nothing to do with bodies, because bodies are only images of a hallucination or a dream. So they're neutral and they're nothing, and they do not exist because they only seem to exist within the illusion. So the awakening is only for the mind. And, you know, we all start at the, like Ken would say, the bottom rung of the ladder, where we think we're a person and we're asleep, but the memory of God is always within us. And usually, you know, the symbols to allow us to get in touch with that memory, which is abstract and is within us, are in the illusion, because they were placed in the original instant, unholy instant, as the correction. And, you know, of course, Miracles is that, and it's allowing us to get in touch with that. And then as we get in touch with that and start seeing some light through the darkness, then we'll be able to awaken. But that memory is there. It's for our choosing. And now that we've run into this symbol of awakening, which is a purely non-dualistic symbol, which will get us all the way out to God, then that's how we can awaken. I think the great reminder there is that not only are we not a body, we're not even an individual mind. The reality is each one of us is the entire dreaming mind. And so that's why when we awaken, everything awakens, because every body that we're seeing in this screen is not really there. They're just images of a dream. So that's what really awakens from the dream to the real world, and then to truth. And then from the last video, I think the main two aspects of it is, one is not to, in my view, one is not denying the world. I think Ken makes a reference of that, is even though everything is unreal, it doesn't make any sense for us to say, oh, well, you know, nothing works. I mean, nothing's real, so who cares? Because at the end of the day, the value that the world has is that it serves as a mirror. Every image and every situation is the mirror that allows us to get in touch with the contents of the unconscious, so that we can identify the egoic, you know, beliefs and let them go, and then accept the truth. So I think that there's no value in denying the world, because you're not doing anything. All you do is just maintain your same ego beliefs intact, and you don't do anything. And then the other aspect is, I think you said it, Jared, I guess all of us have said it, is not using the metaphysics of the Course to reinforce the ego, which we could easily fall into that trap in feeling special because we understand the metaphysics, and then we try to make other people wrong for not knowing them. Or even when we're with a family member and where there's clearly a projection of guilt from, let's say, me to my mom or Pablo's mom. And then, and you just throw the metaphysics on her face on any given moment instead of actually you applying it for what you need to apply, which is just to let go of that belief in guilt at that instant where you clearly catch the projection. So I think that's pretty much the two main things from that last video.
Awesome. Thank you, Pablo. Very well stated. Very eloquently stated. Thank you. All right. We have Linda. And I know Nathan's not feeling well today, but Nathan, if you change your mind, let us know. Linda, what were your highlights? Were you able to watch any of the videos?
My schedule has been like this all week. It's been madness this week. I saw a little bit of the first one. I mean, Ken Wapnick is a smart man, so it's. I would need to watch these videos for life-changing reason. Of Course in Miracle books, I mean, has really helped me to change. Got rid of the chatter and the space in my head for the past 39 years. So I'm glad that's gone. And I just read the little book a little bit before the Zoom tonight. Just highlighted some stuff. So I'm going to watch the 3 videos this weekend.
Perfect.
Maybe I can watch it.
Thank
But
you,
I'm
Linda.
always learning something new with the Course in Miracles. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Okay, so I think that completes our highlights from each person. And so now we're going to do forgiveness in the field. And so just to remind you all what that is we basically share what we forgave, anything that pissed you off that you actually forgave. So obviously we're not going to talk about it if you haven't forgiven it. But we want to celebrate your forgiveness and just have a good little time. We usually do this on a timer. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have like 8 people. Let's do like 3 minutes each, and then I'll have a timer.
Hey, Jared, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
One thing that I wanted to mention regarding that last video was the groups thing, you know, because even though we don't deny the experience, we can also not fall into the trap of believing that anything we do in form is important, because then we're all reinforcing the separation, thinking that this is real and, you know, we're real people dealing with real problems, and, you know, kind of let form take care of itself, because at the end of the day, everything's prescripted. Everything that happens to all bodies is prescripted. Our experience is that we're making decisions, but that's a false experience. The only real decision we're only making is between truth and illusion at the level of the mind. It's the only one. The rest is all prescripted. So it's kind of detaching from, just kind of letting it flow. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yes, it's so wild when you say pre-scripted, because I think that I'm so special and I need to make this big business and I need to run this group and I'm doing all this stuff and here I am, but I'm just like an ego projection. I'm just a story. I'm a story. I'm not even real.
No, you're not. No, you're not the story. Jared is the story, and Jared is not real. You are real, because you are all there is.
Okay, I'm real, but Jared is a story. Jared's running around doing all these things, and he thinks he's so busy and special, and Jared really is just a story, and Jared's gonna live his life, and what's gonna happen has already been pre-scripted for Jared, and it really. I'm glad you said that. And I want to thank you, Pablo, for guiding me a lot on our calls that we've done and stuff, because you've really helped me also, or helped Jared or the real me or whatever figure this out more. But it definitely,
as mine. Yeah,
me as mine.
That's right. That's kind of the break that at some point we all have to start making is, you know, there's the body and then there's me as the one dreaming mind, which in truth is perfect spirit. It only, you know, we only seem to exist as the one dreaming mind within the illusory level of perception, but that it's illusory. It does not exist. You know, the one dreaming mind, the reality of that one dreaming mind that each of us is really perfect spirit, which is infinite, has no beginning or no end, which is God.
Wow. And that's the stuff you can't see.
Exactly.
But with vision, with
it's
spiritual
abstract.
sight, you can see it. Yeah.
Exactly. We start getting in touch experiential. I think Langdon was saying that how you in the same way that you experience dualism, then you also start experiencing. It kind of starts getting translated from an intellectual experience to from intellectual understanding to an experiential understanding, but that's gradual, and we all go through it whenever the mind is ready for it. That's why the focus is always the same. It's just choosing against illusion and for truth at the level of content, at the level of the mind, and then just let form take care of itself. Just doing it over and over, over and over, over and over.
Yes. Thank you, Pablo. All right, so let's do our forgiveness in the field. I'm going to start the clock at 3 minutes. I'll start. So here's what I forgave. I may not need all 3 minutes, but here we go. So my last week's forgiveness in the field was like heavy stuff, man, because I was moving and, it's just everything's moving, or Jared was moving, whatever you want to say, however you want to call it. So this week has been actually pretty awesome, just living here at our new place. We have this new 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment that's like lakeside view. And like, honestly, I'm in form heaven over here. Like, I love it. And we have our nice little dining room and our office, and my wife's here, and it's just great. But my forgiveness lesson has been around Crystal buying stuff. So I just have to forgive that. And she's probably hearing me talk about her. So anyway, I love you, babe. So she buys like a lot of stuff. And, we've agreed that she can do that. And we have money for that and everything. But like, man, I just like, she bought all this stuff and I had to go outside and help her bring it in. And my body language was all like, so I just realized that that's a big forgiveness lesson, and that came up for the mind. And so I have to choose to see the reality of the situation, which is I'm not a body. There's nothing to protect, and just, I guess, be more loving about it. It took me probably about 2 or 3 or 4 minutes to catch myself, because at first she comes home with like these huge Burlington bags full of, everything, which like pictures, I could show you all the drama of it, but lots of beautiful things. Our house is going to be awesome. But anyway, I just kind of freaked out, but at least I didn't yell at her. At least I didn't like get mad like that. I caught myself, but I have to forgive the small things too, right? Like, and the little things. And I also stubbed my thumb when I was installing the dryer today. And I thought, I got to forgive that. So these things just keep coming up for the mind to forgive. I'm not Jared. I'm not this Jared thing that's running around. The things that happen, I just got to forgive them so that this section of the mind can completely heal. And I just got to do my part. And this was my small stuff this week. And that's it. That's what I got for you. 30 seconds remaining. Okay, who's next? What was your forgiveness in the field?
Hi, people. How you doing?
Linda. Okay,
my
timer's going.
Okay, thanks. Well, my forgiveness was about somebody asked me to leave a group, but that did take me about a week just to accept that. So I've been talking with God a lot. I do my Course in Miracles, and I'm over it now. I'm a lot better. So it took me a while. So the only thing I could do is just let go and let God. I mean, some information gets gets misdiagnosed or crossed over wrong, so I'm not going to worry about it. And yes, I'm a girlfriend. I'm my boyfriend sitting over there on the couch, and I bought some stuff today, so I know how everybody feels with the shopping. Oh, God, do I go a little nuts, so. And I have my boyfriend with me to teach me how to do frugal. He's my sweetheart. He's a genius of the house. And I have my little furry daughter here.
Oh, so cute.
And all the aunts and uncles' kisses here. Hey, baby.
Aww.
Oh, your aunts and uncles are here, baby. Hey? Her name is Lucy.
Hi, Lucy.
Oh, and she helps me to forgive other people. She does. And plus, I've been going to the 12-step program for over 24 years, so I had that. So when something bad like that happens, I do something that's called thework.com by Byron Katie, or I do a 10-step or a 4th step from any 12-step program You write down everything, and that helps you to go through it. Or you can speak to a Spiri, Spiri. It's a page on Facebook, and that kind of like helps you to let go, let God. So and it helps. So I'm 56 years old. I'm still learning new things. And these teenagers think when you're 20 years old, you learned enough. No, even when you go to heaven, you're going to learn new things then. That's life on life terms. Learn new things every day and being a better person for yourself first and then for others. My funny, huh? And she loves everybody here.
Way to go, Linda. Great forgiveness in the field, and you got 50 seconds to spare.
Okay.
Great job.
And I'm not perfect. I'm from New York. My boyfriend knows I have a New York attitude. I do the best I can, you know? I've been here in California for 14 years, so I learned to let you live. You know what I mean? That's life on life terms. Believe me, you're here in California, you relax, money. You do. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Linda. All right. Who's next? Forgiveness in the field.
I think I'll go.
Lengi.
Yeah, I've been smug for weeks about not having anything much to forgive. And to be honest, I'm on a bit of a roll at the moment. Things just seem to be going so right for me. It's unreal. But this week, I was presented with something I didn't really want to get involved in. I won't go into any details, but I had to do something in the evening with somebody, and it really didn't go very well with me. And so I had all day to brew about it. Well, I didn't brew about it. I just decided look at it differently. I thought, I don't want to feel like this. I just need to view it differently, forgive it. And in the end, it was okay. But I had a day of anticipation. It turned out fine. But yeah, it was a forgiveness opportunity, and it was a good one. I learned a lot. I suppose it was old prejudices being put to bed, you know, that kind of thing. And yeah, ancient history being dealt with. So I don't want to go into detail about it, but it worked out okay, and I'm pleased with that. Generally speaking, like I say, I'm on a roll. You know, I'm getting money through the letterbox that I don't even know is coming. I've got work coming out of my ears where I had no work at all last year, at all. I think I earned about £100 for the whole year last year, and that's insane, really. Everything is going great. So I'm obviously being set up by the ego. Something really horrible just around the corner. But yeah, so that's my forgiveness in the field. I actually had something to forgive, which I haven't really told you much about, but it was a bit of a humdinger for me. And the good thing about it is I seem to get instant results. I think that's what I love so much about the course. Once I started practicing it, I was always emboldened and encouraged by the way it just works always. And I can't really explain it other than, you know, to people who don't understand it, you know, all you got to do is try it and see. And then they can find out for themselves. But the resistance is always there. They think you're nuts, you know. Whatever. Anyway, that's me done. So I'll let somebody else have a go.
Way to go, Langy. Great forgiveness.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, 17 seconds to spare. Well done, sir.
Good stuff.
All right, who's next?
I can go.
All right, Dad.
But my forgiveness in the field is always tipping over the computer, is our ex-son-in-law. I mean, he just, it's amazing. He sent probably 4 different emails. I'm the third-party communicator between him and my daughter, our daughter. And now the emails are addressed to Mr. Third-Party Coordinator. No, third-party communicator. And I see it and I'm thinking, I just smile. I think this is the guy, well, he is me, but is just so angry with what's going on that, you know, you have to feel for him. So all these crazy emails and the content I don't even want to go into because, part of it, he accused me of lunging at him during an exchange, which it is comical. No judge will ever put up with it or see through it. So yeah, he is definitely, again, my forgiveness in the field, because he is I.
It's a call for help. It's a
Yeah.
call for help on his behalf.
Yes. Yep. And I don't want to come back being in reversed roles either.
Yeah, you don't want to come back and deal with this another lifetime. Heck no.
No. This is enough. This has been going on now for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Wow. 2 years.
So this is awesome, man. I've seen a big shift with you, Dad. I want to acknowledge you for your fantastic forgiveness in the field.
Oh, thank you. I accept that.
All right. That's right. That's right. All right, Mom, you want to go?
Yes and no. I have a couple of them. Do you have my timer? Do you have the timer?
Oh,
I might go over
yes.
time.
Oh, Dad, 50 seconds to spare. Good job. Okay. Here you go.
Okay. All right. So I keep having I just had chemo a week ago and I'm really not feeling that good. So I have to keep forgiving the stomach, how my digestive system is feeling. And another thing, I feel like I'm making leeway with my progress, and then something backfires, such as, well, I got my fluid taken out of my lung. I was grateful for that. And I know I have more fluid in the other lung, so I'm going to get that taken care of. But it was just, I just have to forgive all of this stuff that's going on. And then on top of that, I felt like my number was way too high, my cancer number. And I had to forgive that because I thought, wow, I thought I was getting better. And then I get this huge number and now everybody's all baffled. And so I have to forgive that. And then we went to Las Vegas to do a scan. And I won't tell you all the details, but we met a lot of really awesome people. The lady that did the scan, we talked to some doctors, we talked to some other people that sold product, and we ended up meeting this person that it was not satisfactory.
He was recommended.
He was recommended, that's why we met with him, but we ended up spending $400. And when we got home, we looked at the label, we totally trusted him. And it was vitamin C. No, vitamin D, magnesium, $400 worth for a child's dose. So we were like, how are we so vulnerable that we just let that happen? Then I'm thinking, well, I felt compassion for the guy because he obviously needed money, because everything that we talk about, he'd try to sell us, which it was weird. So obviously it was a forgiveness lesson. I mean, I don't want to come back and have to be reverse roles and me be the salesman and me be just care about how much money I can get. I was judging him. I was totally judging him as taking advantage of a cancer patient. And that was probably not his deal at all, but I was judging him. And then it takes me a while to forgive. It's not an instant forgiveness. I have to get on this call next day to forgive and to think about it. And I'm yeah, I really need to let that go, because I kind of dwell on it for a while. It's not instantly gone. And I mean, we don't have our money back or anything like that. Hopefully it's going to happen. But anyway, so this has just been a big forgiveness lesson. Pretty much.
Been a big week.
It's been a good week. Yeah. Tired.
Great stuff.
See, I'm gonna share one. I don't have anything very specific, but I'll share one. But I just wanted to say that's where when the mind clings on something like that, because it's happened to me in nightly dreams. Sometimes I'll get something and the mind gets and it just clings. It starts clinging onto guilt against someone. It's really my guilt. That's where bringing all the metaphysics of the course is so valuable, because then all the weight is off your shoulders when you remember oh, this is really a dream, and person is not really a real person, and neither is this person that I believe I am. It's just figures of a dream that I put there so I could see in them the guilt that's in my unconscious from believing I separated from God. And kind of when you do that whole process, the mind loosens. I mean, it gets a lot more loose, and then you can accept the truth. Okay, yeah, so that it is, and that guilt is there, but it's all false, because the separation is, it's impossible. It could never occur. And what he is and this body is perfect spirit. Anyway, I just want to say that's when bringing all the metaphysics of the course, especially on those ones where the mind clings a lot. From my experience, it helps me a lot to, process that quickly. And then, to be honest, I don't remember a specific one, like a good one to share, but I'll just say we have some rental properties, me and my business partner, and there's two instances in which there's projection that I've noticed, and it's been I just let it go right away, but it's a good opportunity for me because there's fears associated with that. One is when there's an emergency on one of the properties. So I received the emergency calls, and sometimes I haven't answered, and then there's this anxiety. And so I'm like, that's pure projection. So I just do the work, and I just remember it's all a setup, and all I'm seeing is a fear that's completely unfounded. So it's based on a guilt and a sin that have no foundation at all. So, and then so that's one instance. It could seem little, because it's anxiety, but it's equally important because it's just layers of the same big, deep onion that we have to let go. So, and then the same thing, there's a lot of little things. I'll just share these. Before, I don't experience this anymore, but before, when I would wake up late, I would feel guilty and fearful, with no reason whatsoever. Like, even if it was a specific, it was more when there was a meeting and I was running late. I felt guilty and fearful, like you jump out of the bed and you're all anxious, and that's just pure fear. It's pure guilt and pure fear, and they have no foundation at all. So I did, when I first read The Disappearance, I started applying that to that all the time, every time I felt it, and it's gone. There's no more guilt, and more on that specific pattern. I don't experience that anymore. But we could think that it's silly because it really has no impact on anything, but it's there. It's just projection of sin, guilt, and fear on that. So anyway, that's me.
Wow. Great stuff, Pablo. Thank you for sharing. All right, Christian.
All right. So, I'm a little bit embarrassed to share my forgiveness in the field, but I'm just going to do it anyway because I'm embarrassed. Right, Jared?
Let's go.
All right. So, as y'all know, I'm a poker player, and I keep burning, like I'll win some money from poker, and then I'll kind of get an ego attack or something later on within a couple of days or something. And I'll just log in at the wrong time and then just go to the casino section and then just put all the poker money in the slot machine. And I did it earlier this week. I spent, I had such a great day in poker the whole day, right? And I shut down the computer, left my winnings in there. And then 6 hours later, I couldn't really sleep that night. And then I got woken up and I was wide awake for 4 hours. And and then I woke up and then I wanted to have a Pepsi with some of the leftover ribs and hash browns, and then, right? Of course, 6 a.m., that's the best thing possible, right? So, and my parents had the Pepsi on me. So guess what? I was so mad over nothing, right?
Over the Pepsi, okay.
Yeah, absolutely nothing, right? And, I'm never upset for the reason I think, but I think this is an example of how the ego, reinforces itself. I was doing so good with my forgiveness and just, living a good life for, a good 4 days straight. I was on a good hot streak. And then, I just had this massive anger attack out of nowhere, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go online, and then I just boop, 5 minutes, the money's gone. It's so stupid, right? the good thing that I noticed is that I wasn't as angry this time with myself. I wasn't as guilty. I wasn't as angry. I wasn't as surprised. I just kind of like looked at it, right? There was some emotions for sure, as there still kind of is, but I opened up the disappearance of the universe to the part where I'm at. And it says like, if you want to have your own business and look like you're the boss, then fine, make it work the best way you feel guided to. Be good to yourself. It's your mental attitude we're really concerned with, not what you appear to do. Eventually, you will come to see anything you do to make a living as an illusion to support you in the illusion without really supporting the illusion. So, and that brings me back to like what you were saying, Pablo, about like, you know, the metaphysics, staying really close to the metaphysics. I was really good at that my first couple of years, you know, I was really good with that. And so I can do that again. I'm just going to keep these ideas flowing all the time and stuff. And so that was nice to get that sort of like confirmation from the Holy Spirit. When I read that, it was like, he was so gentle. It's almost like you can keep pursuing poker. Like you can keep doing what you're doing. Just like be good to yourself and don't let the metaphysics of the course get too far away, you know? So.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Christian. Great forgiveness in the field.
Thanks,
Hey,
dude.
Jared.
Yes.
Just want to share something that I found valuable for me. And, you know, the course and even Gary's books talk a lot about bringing illusions to the truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's ever, well, Gary's books do spell it out somewhere, but we tend to forget what that truth really is. I mean, at the end of the day, it is the Holy Spirit's thought system that reminds us of the truth, though that's the metaphysics. That's really, if we don't have the metaphysics as a context where to bring the illusions, then the illusions are real. So I remember when I first started, I was sleeping very deeply, very nicely. I was just, you know, when I started awakening and I run into Gary's book. I remember talking to someone, he says, yeah, you got to get through the clouds to get to the light. And I thought, well, as long as you believe that the clouds, the darkness is real, you ain't getting through. You know, it's very difficult. So I think that that's the beauty of a course is that it gives you the means, you know, it gives you that thought system that you have to study in deep levels and make it yours and hold it in awareness all the time, because that is the light. You know, when the course talks about doing the course with Jay, is really doing it's symbolic of doing the course with his thought system. It's really maintaining the thought system and awareness all the time, because that's what you will bring illusions to. That's where all the egoic beliefs, as they come up, you bring it to that, because that will remind you, oh, this is false. This is false. This is false. And we let it go. So anyway, I want to mention that because it is very important.
Yes. Thank you, Pablo. Man, it's awesome having you on.
I'm glad to be here, man.
Bro. All right, so this concludes our time. Just two real quick things I want to go over. I need a volunteer to choose 3 Ken Wapnick videos, and it needs to be a total of a half hour. So you could find one long one that's 30 minutes, or you could find 3 that are 10 minutes, or it's not going to hurt anyone's feelings if it's 25 minutes. But, oh, we have a volunteer. Mom and Dad. Okay, thank you, Mom and Dad. Could you just find the 3 Ken Wapnick videos and send it to me on Facebook Messenger, and then I'll post it tonight so that we can have something to study for the next week.
Will do.
Yep.
Awesome. And then I want to end our call with a text I got from Pablo, who's on the line. He sent me this today that really, like, anytime Pablo sends me a text, I got to like take like 15 minutes and really focus because it's heavy. So here you go. We're going to end the call with some really good stuff here from Pablo. Or Pablo, you got this from a friend of yours, I believe.
No, I wrote that a couple of weeks ago. When I sent it to him and he texted me back, I just thought of you. I'm like, well, I'm going to share this with Jerry.
Yes.
I take notes
I love when I get my Pablo texts, man. So thank you. Okay, here we go, guys. A good analogy or way to think of the process of healing through which we attain peace and then awaken back to truth or reality is to think of our unconscious mind as the inner lens which we perceive absolutely everything within the illusory world of perception in which we are seemingly trapped right now. So the inner lens, right? Our unconscious mind is this inner lens. And so this lens, the unconscious, in its natural state is perfectly clean and clear. Now, because of certain decisions that were made in one instant at a metaphysical level, this lens is currently all dirty, muddy, and simply dark. And thus our perception of absolutely everything we appear to see is completely distorted, i.e. this world of bodies. And it is precisely these distorted perceptions of every person and situation that always lead us to an experience or sense of scarcity and lack, separation and loss, guilt and fear, and pain and suffering, which we all can relate to. Now, the way in which we as minds heal is precisely through a process of purification or correction per se of our unconscious, which is our inner lens. And continuing with the analogy, the way in which we achieve this is by starting to wear a pair of prescription glasses all the time. For wearing them allows us, number one, to spot the dirt or darkness that is in our inner lens, which is all the people who piss us off or whatever. Number two, to happily let go of such dirt or darkness for good understanding it is completely made up, illusory, unfounded, impossible, meaningless, and thus unnecessary since it is nothing.
That refers to the unconscious ego beliefs, the darkness and the mud. That's what it's referring to. It's all
Okay,
the
unconscious ego beliefs.
That's the one that you'll spot, and then you'll realize that it's false because it has no foundation.
Okay, so number one, spot it. Number two, happily let it go, realizing it has no foundation. And number three, happily remember at that instant the happiness and joy of the perception that comes through the clean lens, which is the lens of oneness, perfect love. And by the way, this three-step process of purification of the unconscious just described is what A Course in Miracles calls the practice of true forgiveness and spiritual sight, or simply the performing of miracles.
Which that last step, as Gary repeatedly states in all his workshops, is really when you join at the level of the mind. I don't know how you can visualize a white light with no beginning, no end. I mean, whatever works for everyone, but it's really perceiving everyone involved as perfect spirit or perfect oneness. That's how you, after you let everything go, you just remember, I just remember I'm perfect spirit, and so is everyone.
Yes, yes. Okay, last two paragraphs. Here we go. And so, the pair of prescription glasses being referred to here as an analogy is precisely the thought system taught in A Course in Miracles, which is symbolically called the Holy Spirit's thought system or Jesus's thought system. Needless to say, this thought system is completely opposite to that of the illusory ego, which is based on sacrifice, scarcity, lack, specialness, separation, individuality, death, sin, guilt, and fear, and thus is based on oneness, love, and truth. Also, an absolute critical characteristic of the Holy Spirit's thought system is that it provides you with all the metaphysical context that you need in order to successfully carry on the purification process of your inner lens, your unconscious. Without it, it simply cannot be done. And there are no ifs and buts about it, period. And so this is why we need not only to constantly study and deepen our understanding of this thought system, which means constantly being engaged in reading Gary Renard's books, Ken Wapnick's books, and the Course itself, but also to try to maintain it firmly and clearly in our awareness all the time until we reach the point at which such thought system becomes our one and only default thought system. For this will allow us to perceive everything truly through true forgiveness and spiritual sight without exception, and thus greatly advance in our healing process. And this in turn enables us to gradually start staying in an experience of peace, happiness, and joy in which guilt, fear, pain, and suffering not only are completely out of awareness, but also cease to be a concept. Last paragraph. So this is the way we heal. The way in which our unconscious is healed, and thus how we attain peace and then awaken to reality from this dream of separation we used to call life, which is nothing more than an illusory hallucination taking place within us as the one dreaming mind. All we have to do is to maintain our prescription glasses on all the time, for it is this Holy Spirit's thought system which reflects the truth that will remind us of the truth and thus enables us to identify or spot and let go of all the dirt and darkness that doesn't allow us to see things truly, and thus keep us in an experience of pain and suffering in which true happiness, peace, and joy are nowhere to be seen. So this is like LASIK. Holy Spirit LASIK. Thank you, Pablo. Man, bro, you got some good stuff, man. I love it. Thank you for sharing that and taking the time to study it. Thank you for reading your ass off. I know how much you read. I can't wait to have you more on these calls because it's great. All right.
Rock and roll, Pablo.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, that does it for tonight. And we will be posting the next 3 Ken Wapnick videos tonight for y'all to study next week, June 15th. We'll see you next week at the same time, 7 p.m. Central. And so we're going to end the call like we always do by unmuting the lines and having everyone say good night and God bless.
Good night.
God bless.
Good night and God bless.
Night and God
Hey,
bless.
God.
Keep it simple a day at a time. Do the best you can, huh?
That's right.